That's right, friends. It's time to cinch up the 5-point and jump right into another episode of Corbetting with Chris.
Let's kick this one off with, I'm very thankful for you guys to come on. We've known each other now, oh boy, but pre-COVID, right? You guys were kind of doing the other tire company shtick and we couldn't talk. It was ugly. And then, that other tire company freed up some space and we got to chat. And you guys internally with a lot of people with us have always been kind of known as the Jeep YouTubers, right? Lots of Jeep YouTube content. And so I think that's where our relationship kicked off and just getting to know you a little bit better. But I still don't know a lot about you guys. I don't know where you came from, what the middle portion was, and how things are progressing. Like, where do you see things going? Where are things heading? So I'm curious, like, let's start. How'd you guys meet?
So what you're saying is you don't watch our YouTube videos.
You guys share a lot in there, and I do watch a lot of the YouTube videos. Now I am the progressive scroller. I like scroll through, stop, scroll through, stop. I do like, I'm not really a full YouTube sit and watch the whole thing.
Yeah, me neither. Just give me shit.
I mean, but I don't know how you guys met. I don't know how did you decide on the name Lite Brite? Another one of my questions.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. I know you guys are very passionate in the Jeep, the Jeep world, and you branched out in their stuff. You've been playing with the Broncos. You've come with us on, we came with Minnow Tire on the trip to up north to the Arctic, and you've done like a lot of, you guys are living from outwards appearances, you guys are living the dream. You're really living the dream. I know it's a lot of work. I know we've talked about that in the past, but let's start back in the beginning. How'd you guys meet? Where'd you come from? Right?
Yeah. So I guess that's more starting with me. So I grew up in Vegas, joined the military when I was 18, went to Texas, got involved with drifting. Back now,
what'd you do? Let me back up. What'd you do in the military?
I was a firefighter.
Really? Interesting.
Yeah, firefighter in the Air Force. So I was in Texas, and I met a guy down in Texas who ran. Well, he was big into drifting, and so I started drifting with him. And I didn't really have the budget for it, so I just hang out with him. And I was just kind of like.
How long ago was this? Roughly what years?
Well, originally. This was 2004, 2005. And then, drifting wasn't really a thing. And then it started becoming more, I don't even think Formula Drift started until 2008, 2010, somewhere around that.
Yeah, a little later.
Grassroots stuff in parking lots, and then there was events. So I got into drifting, and as I made more money, I started doing it more. And we went down to do a demo event. I don't know, what year was that?
2012.
Was it
2013? So I wasn't into drifting, but I was into like show cars. I was really big into Volkswagen.
You guys were both in Texas at the time then?
And I grew up in Texas, and
gotcha.
I had an old Mark IV VR6 Jetta.
The one she just saw.
Oh yeah, the one that you almost bought.
I did. I really liked it. My daughter did too.
Yeah.
So I went down to a car show in Ennis, Texas, and didn't know it at the time, but when I showed up, not only did they have drag races going on the drag strip, the car show was in the parking lot. On the other side of the parking lot, they had basically drifting demo going on. And I'd never seen a drift car before.
Yeah. So it's actually a drag race event, and then just to make it bigger, they added a car show.
They had bolted on. Yeah.
Right. So we're in the parking lot, and so we're there, and we just did this like little figure 8 kind of deal that they had set up, and we were just giving ride-alongs to people.
Yep.
She came over and just by chance got my car, and at the time I was actually splitting the car with 2 other friends because we didn't have much money.
Yeah.
So we were just splitting a drift car 3 ways. So we'd all work on it, all pay for the parts, all pay for the tire, and just split it. So it just so happens that I was
the driver
at the time. She came up and got in the car, and I gave her a ride along, and she had a good time.
It was my first ride in a drift car.
Yeah.
was basically how we met. I still have the GoPro footage from that.
How does that go down? You just say, "Hey, this dude looks good. I think I'm gonna go take a ride." Like, how does that go down?
It gets a little crazier.
I never even saw his face because he, like I said, he had a helmet on. He knew what I looked like because, like, I walked up, had to put the helmet on and everything. But yeah, and that was like it. Talked to him for a few minutes, and then that was it.
Did you guys have mutual friends or just?
Well, I get that.
Later that evening, my car show team that I used to be involved with, we all went to dinner at Chili's because it's in Texas. It's a very small
There's nothing
town.
there. The only thing is there is like a Chili's, basically.
And
yeah.
his drift friends all went to Chili's also. And so we ended up sitting at like adjacent tables, and I was straight trading like looks.
But she didn't know it was me.
All night long.
You didn't know that was me sitting there.
You didn't know that.
Oh, did you?
You didn't know that that's who you took a ride with? That it was
No,
Kevin?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I saw her, she saw me, but it just would.
Yeah. But that was like, and then that was it. And then like we went our didn't even talk though, like just kind of traded glances and then left our separate ways. But this event, this like car show and drifting thing was a biannual event. So 6 months later, I went again. And they had the drifting thing again. But I was still a broke college student at this time. So they were charging money to do the drift, like the ride-alongs and the drift cars.
And you were charging the first time too, but you paid.
The first time you didn't ask me for my money, and I wasn't going to offer it because $40 was a lot of money for me at the time. And so I just thought I got away scot-free.
No, I just
and then
charge her.
The second time, well, I know that now. The second time we went again, I was just standing there watching the drifting, watching the cars.
We were in a new car. So before we had a 350Z, this time we had a 240. And I saw her and I'm like, oh shit, that's that girl from 6 months ago.
6 months. Wow,
So
that's awesome.
So I drove up and I pointed at her and I was like, hey, come on. And she goes,
yeah, I was like,
you. She's like, who's he pointing at? I'm like, you. Like, and she's like, me. I'm like, yeah, come here. And she's like, what? She's like, I don't have any money. I was like, I don't care. Here's a helmet. Get in the car.
So he gave me another ride along, and it was an SR20 swap 240.
Yeah.
But then again, like afterwards, I said thanks. We went our separate ways. Didn't see each other again for 2 years.
Wow.
So 2013, and then in 2015, someone tagged him on a Facebook photo from that event 2 years ago. I don't remember who it was, but some mutual car seat.
I just got a notification on Facebook that it's like you've been tagged, and somebody's like, "Hey, Kevin Williams, is this you, or this is your car, or something?" Yeah. And I clicked on it, and I'm like, and so she had originally posted it like, "Oh, got to ride in a drift car," but she didn't know anything about me, didn't know my name. So 2 years go by, and I'm like, holy shit, that's that girl. I instantly hit her up and I'm like, instantly I said it. I was like, holy crap, you're that girl. I had no idea who you were, what your name is. And 2 years later, I found you.
Yeah, and then we started dating a few weeks after that.
Was that literally just through social? Like you guys just connected?
I would have never met her again if somebody didn't tag me in her photo. I would have never seen her or met her again. And if she didn't post the photo.
Yeah.
Standing in front, or I think they tagged me saying, "Hey, is this your drift car?" or something, because I think she just had a photo in front of the drift car.
Yeah,
and somebody noticed the drift car and tagged me in it.
There's total chance.
Wow, and that brought you guys together. I mean, that's a cool story, honestly.
I think it was like close to February or March, and then her birthday's in April, and there was a big drift event in April. And I was like, "Hey, you want to go to this drift event for your birthday? Like, I'll take care of everything. We'll go drifting." I was like, "I'll teach you how to drift." And so she's like, "Well." Yeah, and then I taught her how to drift.
So, Brittany, why into cars? Like, what got you into cars? Not, sometimes not traditional for women to be into cars, at a young age. What got you into it?
So that Jetta was her first manual that you got. She learned to drive a manual on that Jetta,
on the Mark IV Jetta. But I didn't get that Jetta until I was 22, so I didn't learn to drive a manual transmission. I didn't know how to work on a car. I didn't really know anything about cars until about 21, 22 years old. And honestly, people ask me that question a lot, and there's really no good answer. No one in my family is into cars. My friends were into cars. It was just something where like I'd see a sports car, and I wouldn't, at the time when I was in middle school, high school, whatever, I wouldn't have been able to tell you what it was, but I've been like, wow, that looks cool and it sounds cool. And it wasn't until college that I met someone who was into the car show scene. So like Stance Life,
Yeah.
off-camber stuff, you know. I know. Yeah, thanks. And we all go through
Somebody else.
I'll go through
That's not to somebody else. It's the dance life.
Yeah.
The
negative camber. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
My Jetta was on air suspension, but yeah, but through that, I slowly really got into cars, and it just kind of progressed. So I started with car shows and like, you know, building a show car that wasn't really fast, it wasn't really functional, it just looked good. And then I got into drifting, and that's where all the motorsports and the real knowledge kind of started pouring in.
And crazy enough, like she picked up drifting pretty damn, like she picked up, being that she didn't start driving a manual until she was like 21, 22,
Yeah.
learning clutch, e-brake, shifting, all that. Like it was pretty crazy to watch somebody
Pick it up
not
fast.
know much about cars and just pick it up and start doing really well. She just had like that seat of the pants, like feel.
So did that come together when you guys got together? Like you
Yeah.
guys got together and you figured out this formula, so to speak, that, you know, you wanted to drive, and, you know, Kevin could not necessarily wrench, but just like put it together as a team effort type of thing.
Yeah, and a lot of it was just him trying to impress me too. No joke. He taught me how to drift, and it was like I said, it was an SR20 swap 240. And that first date, like out at one of the drift tracks, he basically let me go out there and practice doing donuts and then figure eights. And like that first day I got figure eights down, not like perfectly, but like I could manage them. And almost immediately after that, we were just dating at the time. There was nothing like permanent.
Yeah.
He went halvesies in with me to buy my own drift car, my first ever drift car, which is the 350Z, which was the same 350Z I competed with on Netflix on Hyperdrive.
Nice.
But he's
I found it
not
crazy.
a smart thing, but he like, yeah, I'll totally take a loan out and halvesy, like co-sign a loan.
We co-signed a
to
loan
buy
together, dating,
not
Same.
even
Man, you were all in, Kevin. Hey,
So it was a really good deal. Like this guy it was fully caged. It was already everything,
It was already
e-brake,
set up.
diff. It had all this stuff, and he was getting divorced, and he had to sell the car. So he sold the car for like $8,000. You get the trailer with like 12 wheels and tires. Like, I mean,
it was pennies on the dollar. Like it was a great deal.
it would have been stupid not to buy it regardless. So
Yeah.
we went with it, and
And he was trying to impress me.
yeah.
What year was that?
Was
It's
it
an 08.
Oh wait,
8
nice.
car, 50Z.
Yeah.
Nice.
It was already fully set up, had everything you could ever need. I mean, like I said, besides a truck, it literally trailer, car, spares, wheels, tires, everything.
Yeah.
So we got into that, and she got more into it and started doing pretty good.
Yeah.
Did you guys then see FD comes along?
Well, that was
Right
actually
after-
quite a while.
Because this was 2015 when we started dating and got the drift car and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I was just doing drifting. Like
He's just
parking
been
lot
doing
stuff
it for a lot longer. Yeah.
Gotcha. Was that a culture? Was that a big thing in Texas, culture-wise? I mean, were you kind of either in the drift end of things, or was there, you know, the truck end, diesel truck end of things?
Yeah.
What's, you know?
So Lone Star Drift, I think, started a few years after FD, maybe.
It's one
So
of
my
the Pro-Am
buddy
series.
who got me into drifting, he owns and runs Lone Star Drift down there, and I mean, I used to drift with Chelsea DeNofa before, like when it was
He got to
XTC,
FD.
before FD and all that. Like,
Yeah.
so I mean, you
Nice.
know Chelsea. So,
Oh, yeah.
Like the core Texas group.
yeah. So there was a pretty good group that came out of there. I never enjoyed competition. I was pretty good at it. I won a couple events. I won.
He says he was pretty good at it. He's really fucking good at it.
Yeah, I just don't enjoy it. I love just bashing doors and tandeming and having fun with my friends. When we get to competition and all that, it just wasn't a huge thing for me. Yeah, it wasn't as fun, so I never took it any further. But it was fun teaching her and seeing how good she'd do, and then she'd get out there and start killing it. So that was kind of it. So it took a few years, like from the time that we first met to the time that
Yeah. I mean,
Like,
you had some history in between there, for
yeah,
sure.
for 5 years or so. Yeah.
And it's and you stuck with the drift formula, right? You stuck with that for quite a while, and then, you know, what was the catalyst? Like, were you doing a lot of content then? Because that was kind of
We're doing
You know,
content. Yeah, that was long before the YouTube channel.
yeah.
We actually, Aaron, who runs the same friend who runs Lone Star Drift, also had an FJ80 Land Cruiser at the time.
And he had a Jeep.
And he had a Jeep. And he's been wheeling a lot because he always take trips to Colorado. And one time we went with them. And it was so rad that we ended up buying our own Land Cruiser to go off-roading.
Mm.
And this was still before the YouTube channel. And so we made a couple trips to Colorado, did some wheeling. And finally, right after 6 months after we got married, he convinced me to move to Colorado.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's kind of funny because still there's no YouTube channel and there's no nothing.
Yeah, no YouTube, and you guys
film stuff. We would just film and upload stuff just as.
How are you paying the bills at this point? Like,
so I was a. So
but you were in the military, right? But
I'd been out for a long time.
You're out. Okay.
Yeah, I got out. 04. No.
What was the job life? What was
So I was a catastrophe insurance appraiser for autos. So I traveled the whole country, tornadoes, hurricanes, hailstorms.
Oh, wow.
All that stuff. So I traveled. So I was at Hurricane Irene in New York. You know, anytime, any big disaster, I would go out and write estimates for.
You're the like claims adjuster, more or less, right?
Yeah, I'm a field appraiser.
Yeah.
So I go out and field appraisal, send it to the adjuster, and they would handle it from there. But yeah, so I was constantly flying or driving all over the country.
Yeah. And then I was actually a service advisor at a Volkswagen dealership.
Really? Didn't know that. That's cool.
Individually, we were both I made really good, being an attractive female in the service industry. In the auto industry, I made a lot of money and he made great money doing what he did. Yeah. So together we had like a really decent income, honestly.
Yeah. As a young couple, you guys are off to a good start at that point, right?
Yeah. So then YouTube was never in the future. Like we never even thought about doing YouTube, but you can go back to one of the first videos before we had a Jeep, and there's a Lone Star Drifters go off-roading. And we literally did everything you're not supposed to do. Like everything that now we teach people not to do in this one video. We did all of the wrong things, all the wrong recovery, snatch recoveries with a Harbor Freight tow strap that snapped and went through the back glass. Like drag racing on frozen lakes in the mountains that you're not supposed to be on. All the driving places you're not supposed to go. We didn't know any better. Yeah. We absolutely knew nothing. We just had a Land Cruiser. Other people had off-road vehicles, and we just took to the mountains.
What was the Cruiser? What was it? 80 series or 100 series?
Yeah, it's triple locked 80 series on.
Awesome.
I bought it on 35s. I ended up cutting it up, putting 40s on it, and 3-link.
Eventually, 35s and 37s and 38s or 9s, and then 40s. Yeah. We worked our way up, but
the Cruiser got you into the space in a sense. Yeah. It drug you in.
Yeah, so we had the Cruiser while we still lived in Texas. Mm-hmm. But the day we moved to Colorado, we also had a 2016 Shelby GT350.
Yeah.
That was when they came out with new GT350s. We drove from Texas to Colorado, and the day, we didn't even go to the new place we were renting. We literally drove.
A few months before we moved to Colorado, the GT350s were really well known for being oil guzzlers. And we ended up, we'd gotten an oil change, but within a couple months, we rod knocked the engine.
Oh yeah.
Because we didn't realize how quickly it would consume the oil. And
1,500 miles, and it was there was 6 quarts gone. Why would you oil at 1,500 miles?
There's a few of those vehicles out there in some of that time frame where oil consumption was
big.
Yeah.
I've had a couple of those.
Yeah.
So we rod knocked the engine, but I drove it in the next morning or whatever. We filled up the oil, right? We put oil back in it.
Yeah.
I drove it in. I was just I don't know. It's making this really weird noise. I don't know what's wrong with it.
Here you go for it.
And so they replaced it under warranty. They replaced the engine under warranty,
which is an expensive motor.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And then a month late, it took a while for them to replace it. But the week after they finished putting a new engine in it, we moved to Colorado and we traded it in. The day we moved
for our JL. So we were moving to Colorado Springs, but as we were driving that 12, 13 hours, I was calling dealerships trying to find a white JL Rubicon.
And this was the week that new Jeep JLs hit the dealership.
Started hitting the lots.
Yeah.
But, and what brought you up to Colorado? Like, what was the decision making for you guys to move from Texas to Colorado at that point?
We were making like 5 or so trips to Colorado with the Land Cruiser a year.
Just
If that-
exploring, checking stuff out. And
Ton of fun and loved it up there. And my job, since there's so many hailstorms in Colorado, the current
Yeah.
company was like, "Hey, we would love to have somebody based out of there." And I'm like, "I'll move
Done.
there. And I get to go play in the mountains and just work, when there's hailstorms, because I don't really work when there's not a catastrophe or not a big hailstorm." So yeah,
so
we're
it
like,
fit with the wind and the hail and
Yeah,
everything else, the snow, the frozen pipes, everything.
yeah. So we literally drove past Colorado Springs to Denver, straight to an AutoNation where they were supposed to have a white Rubicon waiting for us. And we get there at like 9:00 at night. They close at 10. We get there at 9:00 at night, and she's like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry.
Someone
sold
the
it
white
out from
under us.
Like, even though all the deal was done, they'd sent me paperwork over the phone. I was signing on the phone, like everything was done. And I guess somebody else bought it out from under us while we were coming up there. She goes, "I have this red one." And I was like, "I don't want a red one. Like, I wanted a white one. I don't want a red one."
either.
She didn't want a red one. I'm like,
Oh,
fine, like, we'll take the red one. And they were like, "You know what? We'll give you a good deal on it." Because it was February of 2018. They just hit the lot.
2018. Yeah, just starting to
Yeah.
roll in.
Yeah.
And so she was like, "I'm so sorry. We'll hook you up. We'll give you a good deal. We'll get you some extra money on your trade-in," all this stuff. And of course, the red turned out to be great because we named it the Stepchild, and now it's like one of the most known Jeeps.
Because we beat it like a redhead
Yeah.
Stepchild.
Yeah.
So it worked out.
So when you say the Stepchild Jeep, like, almost everybody in the industry knows
Yeah.
what the Stepchild Jeep
But
is.
In hindsight, the red was really good.
Yeah, no, it worked out. And basically all of it was an accident. So when we moved to Colorado, he still had a job, but I didn't. I quit my job to move. And I hadn't found a new one yet. But we bought that Jeep in the same week we bought it on stock, the 35s with
33s.
33s,
Yeah.
but you almost instantly put 35s on it. But no winch, paper tags, nothing. We took it down to Carnage Canyon, which is a pretty extreme trail.
Yeah.
Did the first part of Carnage Canyon by ourselves, no recovery never had a Jeep in our lives. And I just happened to film it because we didn't have any family or friends in Colorado. And my parents were like, "What are you up to? Like, show us photos and videos." And so I just happened to film it for fun. And we beat the ever living crap out of that thing. Like, we were just dragging the skid plates, smashing the bumpers. We ripped the fender or the rear license plate off almost instantly.
We went to Area BFE and accidentally saw a bunch of Jeeps on 40s and buggies doing the gatekeeper to Eldorado.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we show up on this just paper tagged JL Rubicon, I think with a rough country 2.5-inch spacer lift and like 10-year-old 37-inch MTRs.
Mhm.
They were hard as plastic.
You weren't the normal Jeeper showing up at that
No.
point.
Well, and so that's kind of what happened is we bought this Jeep, and that Carnage Canyon video, I uploaded it to an existing YouTube account that I had that we weren't putting YouTube videos on. It was just the easiest way to send a video to my parents back home.
Something you could just upload and they could just go in and
So
YouTube and watch.
Uploaded it, sent the link to my parents, and then a couple weeks later, it had a few 100,000 views. Because at the time, the JL had just come out, and we were like the only just Joe Schmoes, like not industry shop or industry company, who was out there just
seeing what it would do.
and beating the crap out of it. Because it was also expensive, right? It was way more expensive than the earlier JKs.
Yeah, it was. Yep.
And a lot of people weren't taking this $50,000+ Jeep.
60 a Rubicon.
Yeah, and smashing it on rocks.
Yeah.
And
So we were just doing it and uploading it, and then all of a sudden they got all these views, and we're like, "Oh, this is cool! Like, people are watching our Jeep stuff." We still weren't trying to be YouTubers. I made good money. I was like, I'm not gonna, YouTube's not a thing. I'm not a YouTuber. I don't want to be on camera like that. I didn't even, so it was all kind of by accident, and so that's where the Lite Brite thing. Lite Brite was just it
was basically just a nickname I had in high school. I used to be really big into techno and hardstyle and rave stuff. And so I used to wear a lot of bright colors when I was in middle school and high school. So it was just a nickname, but that was my login for MySpace and AOL.com and, all that stuff. And so it was my existing login name for the
Jeep,
YouTube account that I had.
Well, because it's Google. It's
Yeah,
Google
it was
or
just
Gmail.
yeah. And
YouTube's connected to Gmail.
so basically the YouTube channel kind of sprung out of nowhere and happened by the time we were like, oh crap, like maybe we should change the name, or if we're gonna
And it already anchored itself.
it
Right.
already anchored itself, and our subscribers were actually the ones that had started commenting like hashtag Lite Brite Nation.
Yeah, that wasn't
Like we had
us.
this like
None of it was us.
mini cult
Like-
following, and so we just ran with it.
Yeah, so that was February. Some of the videos are doing well. We're still not thinking about being YouTubers. Like we're just
Full-time.
we're just like cool. We're just uploading YouTube videos. People are liking it. Then she goes to film the Netflix show for the Hyperdrive,
Hyperdrive.
which is in
Summer of 2018.
June, July, and of 2018. So this
Yep.
is only 4 or 5 months later after we bought the Jeep. So everything's still pretty fresh. We're only at like 3,000 subscribers on
like
YouTube.
5 or 6. It was-
5 or
yeah.
6,000
I
subscribers.
feel like you guys had carved out a little bit there before the show, right? Because I
Yeah.
remember the show coming out, and I feel like their content-wise,
Well,
and
the
maybe
show
it was
comes years later.
jail
Yeah.
content. Like you guys, I was seeing those in my feed. I was
Yes.
seeing jail content stuff.
The YouTube channel basically started in the early 2018. We filmed Hyperdrive in summer of 2018, but Hyperdrive didn't release to the world like on Netflix
for 2
until
years.
2020.
During
Oh,
COVID.
okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
That
and
makes
so
sense.
in 2018, though, while we were gone filming for Hyperdrive, we were on a media blackout
For a month.
for a whole month where we couldn't post. We weren't allowed to post or get online or do anything.
That
And-
show took a month
Yeah.
to film.
And so we figured right before we left, like, let's just film some filler things to pre-upload and schedule for the YouTube account.
Yeah.
One of those videos that we filmed was the 5 things I hate about my JL. And
I do remember that one. Yeah.
that's the one that most people are like, that was the first video I watched.
Right. So we were media blackout. We weren't allowed to post on YouTube or Instagram or Facebook because we were filming Hyperdrive. They were watching everything, even if it wasn't about it. Like they didn't
Even
want
if it was your own content, Jeep content, they weren't
but
part of the
we
agreement.
were locked up in upstate New York in Rochester. We were locked at the Kodak facility for a month, and the 5 things we hate started doing hundreds of thousands and hundreds of that, and then millions of views. And our subscriber count went from like 5 or 6,000 to like 15, 20, 25,000. You're like,
Within the span of
And
like 20 days.
we're like, oh my God, what is happening? And we still we have no idea. And then all of a sudden, TFL
yeah.
got with the chief engineer from Jeep and did a rebuttal to the 5 things I hate, which made it blow up even more.
Which made it worse. Yeah.
Yeah, and we're just like,
Okay.
holy crap.
Yeah.
So we're monetized at this point, but we have no idea about YouTube, and we didn't know we were going to monetize. We didn't know we were going to do anything. So we got all these views and all this stuff, and we made no money on any of it.
Yeah.
Because we didn't have all the check boxes. and-
Yeah, It's hard, it was probably hard to know that it was going to hit like that. And then once you figure out the monetization thing, you're kind of
Yeah.
like, well, maybe if we make a couple of bucks, it'll be cool.
Yeah.
You know.
So this was June, July, and we're like, okay, let's continue with this. But I still have my job. She was just working Uber basically up in the spring. She was just driving Uber. We kept filming and doing stuff, and we monetized and we tried making money, but we weren't making much. I mean, we were getting hundreds of thousands of views, like millions of views a month, and we were only making like 1,500 to $2,000 a month. And people are like, other YouTubers are like, you should be killing it. You should be making, 10,
lot of money.
20 grand a month or more.
What was the reason?
Well, yeah. So I'll just get right to that.
Yeah.
So December comes around. My job says, hey, come down for Christmas party
To the main base in Texas.
back to Texas. Like, cool, we'll come down. We take a week off, go down there, have the Christmas party, and we're supposed to get our bonuses. It was supposed to be like a $10,000 or $15,000 bonus. I'm like, sick.
We were counting on it.
Yeah.
You-
It wasn't working.
I hadn't found another job yet because I was 100% doing the YouTube, filming and editing the YouTube
And
content.
we were doing daily content, 5-6 videos a week.
Yeah, either daily or every other day.
And the
Yeah.
focus even back then, was it all YouTube, or are you guys just using social as a leader to feed into YouTube at that point?
It was almost all YouTube
Yeah.
at the time.
Yep.
Yeah.
All YouTube. So they pulled me in the office, and they told me that they were either going to fire me or I could resign because
The YouTube videos.
The YouTube videos, they could see that we were out. Even though I hit all my marks, I did my performance review, everything was there, all my work was there. People in the office were complaining, and office morale, about watching us constantly have fun, always in the mountains and always out doing stuff and off-roading and camping. And how could I be doing my work?
Yeah. It doesn't matter that maybe it was on a Saturday, maybe it was on, or maybe it was on a Thursday at 4:00, right? What is it?
Yeah. So anyway, they're like, yeah, like it just doesn't look good. It's a new company, and and we can't have you. I'm like, so wait, but I'm doing my work. Like this makes no sense.
So you guys go there expecting a bonus, but you get strung up for
his bonus too.
You have to be with the company through February of the following year to get the money.
Yeah.
Even though like it ends in December, you have to still be employed February of the following year. So they basically said, if you write a letter resigning, you can use us as a reference for the future, or we'll terminate you and you don't get to use us.
Anyway,
I don't think I wrote him a letter. I just told him to fuck off or something. I think I was just like,
it basically.
Yeah. It sounds like that forced your hand right there to move forward with content with YouTube.
Obviously, it worked.
Well, they told us to quit YouTube. That was the thing. Either you need to quit YouTube,
or you have to quit,
or you have to quit the job. Is what they told me, and I was like.
But at that point, you're already $1,500 a month coming in, right?
Well, ultimately,
you see the potential.
Yeah, but in the span of 10 months, we went from each making like 6 figures each to making like $1,500 a month.
Yeah.
Total.
Yeah, so we're like,
yeah.
I was like, yeah, but I can always get another job. She can always get another job.
And at that point,
YouTube's probably only a one chance when you're hot to capitalize on it.
Yeah. And at that point, we had enough money saved up to last us about 6 months. So we're like, okay, we have the YouTube thing. We're going to go all in, and we have 6 months to make it.
You guys had that discussion, the 6 month kind of like got to make it or break it.
Yeah.
And the videos and the views were all doing really well.
We just weren't making any money. And
we weren't really making any money. And it wasn't until the 6th month.
Well, no. So April comes around. We go to Jeep Beach for our first time. And there's these other YouTubers there. And they're like, yeah, we love your stuff. You guys must be killing it and talking to us about it. And I'm like, no, we're only making like $1,500 a month, $1,800 a month. He's like, no, you guys should be making like 15, 20 grand a month. I'm like, no. And he goes, you mind if I see your settings and see all your stuff? And so he sits down with us, goes through, he goes, oh, you got to turn this on. You got to add this. You got to do this. Following month, we go from 1,800 to like 4,500, which was month 5 at this point. Month 6, we go from 4,500 to like 7,500 or 8,500. And we're like, okay, we're at 6 months, but we just made like $8,500. 7th month, we're at like 13,000. 8th month, we're at like 15,000. Like, we're like, oh my God.
I got to ask, what was the settings?
It was the way we had none of our ad stuff set up. So none of the monetization ads were really even on. And we didn't mean to do YouTube. We hadn't done any research.
You were getting paid on the views, but not getting paid on the ad inclusion, basically, because you didn't click it.
The video ad, the post video ad, the ads in the center, adding ads all throughout the video.
Yeah.
So we weren't doing any of that. We were just letting YouTube do its thing. And so it literally went from 1,500 to 15,000 in 3 months.
Wow.
But you got to think, we were also getting millions of views. All the videos every other day. So we were 3 to 4 videos a week.
Yep.
And we burned ourselves out and went to 3 videos. And now we've been at 2 videos a week for years now. But trying to do a video every other day is almost impossible. Like a quality video, a good video.
Yeah, I think I can attest. Like it is tough. The editing, getting. The equipment's gotten easier, right? As we've progressed on with iPhones, and things have really gotten easier and better to make a quality piece, but it's still editing.
That's all we still film on. We just film on iPhones.
Yeah.
People are like, what's your camera setup? We're like, iPhones. Like iPhone is on a MacBook, and we just airdrop, and she
do the editing
edits. But
that's it.
Yeah.
So it all happened literally at the 4th month to the 5th month is when we're like
of your 6 month,
and then write it from 4 to 5, and then 5 to 6. You're like, oh my God, I'm making the same money I was making. And then 6 to 7, you doubled your money that you were making.
That's gotta be an awesome feeling.
Then, this is 2019. We started in 2018. So this is April, May, June ish of 2019. And then like sponsors start, you know,
Yeah, when did sponsors take notice, and how does that conversation engage itself? You know, is it something where you're like monetization, of course, is one business model of YouTube, but then there's also a business model within sponsorships or additional placements or that type of stuff.
So we've never done the thing where these companies hit you up and they want you to do a 30-minute or 30-second or 1-minute ad talking about their butt cream or their hair product or whatever. We've just never done them. And you can make a crazy amount. These companies will literally pay you like $5,000 for a
Yeah, endorsement placements are huge.
Yeah,
for sure.
We've never done a single one. The only thing, at first, we started just taking parts for free because we're like, okay, that's cool. We can start upgrading our Jeep for free. But then I was like, but then these companies were like, oh my God, you know, one company's like, oh, you sold like $500,000. Another company's like, oh, you did like $1.5 million with us last year. Like people buying because of you. And I'm like, well, where's my cut? You know, like, wait, you gave me $5,000 of parts and I made you $1.5 million. Like, hold on. And so then it started like, okay, we need to start.
We started doing a little more research in terms of marketing, and not just marketing as far as YouTube goes, but marketing ourselves, how to work with, we always call them partners. We don't like using the term sponsorship.
Yeah. Understood.
And we kind of got really, really good at that. It not just working with companies, but also how to promote products on our YouTube channel. And part of the reasons we got really good at it is we also only started working with parts that we had a lot of faith in, because at this point we had built a reputation of really beating the crap out of our rig. And so it got to a point where a lot of people were like, well, if it works if it can survive Kevin and Brittany, it'll be fine on my Jeep.
Right.
Kind of
Yeah.
thing.
And I would say your guys' organic placement of product, I call it organic. It's not, ta-da, look at this, you know, widget type of thing. Your guys' placement is, I think that organic placement carries over a lot better with the consumer, the guy or gal watching YouTube.
Yeah. So pretty crazy to think of. So we buy the Jeep in February 2018. By April 2019, we quit our job. Well, by December,
that's a pretty fast track.
Right. Well, really? By December, we both no jobs by December of 2018, 2019.
YouTube full-time.
YouTube full-time. So April, May, June, we start making enough money.
The summer of 2019.
And that summer 2019, we leave the house and we go homeless, living out of the Jeep.
Yeah.
So summer of 2019, we're now homeless, living out of the Jeep.
I do remember some of that, seeing some of the videos. No fixed hacienda.
Yeah.
No. So now we're working with shops, which was great because now shops are bringing us in to take care of our Jeep and we're promoting their shop. We probably stayed with over 100 people who were complete strangers where we just were like, hey, we're in Tennessee. We could sort of afford hotels, but not every single night.
Yeah.
So we would camp, sleep in the Jeep, or there's been over 100 people that have just opened their homes like, hey, I've got a couch, I've got a room, I've got a basement, and not a single person was ever anything.
No, was that a marketing strategy for the channel, or was that just because in hindsight it was pretty smart?
It was more so just out of necessity, because at that point we had used almost all of our savings, and so we were making good money, but we were trying to like build savings back up, and so we were trying to live, which was part of living on the road because we were traveling so much. We were never home anyways, and moving saved us $1,000 in rent a month. And granted, we almost spent that in fuel, but it was
and food.
But again, from a business decision, like you're creating content on the road, you're feeding the machine, feeding YouTube, and it's paying back.
Yeah.
But the staying with people was just kind of out of necessity. And honestly, it was really cool because we would meet some crazy cool people along the way. And every single person we ever stayed with was like above and beyond amazing. Like they opened their home to us.
One bad, like you would think 2.5, almost 3 years of doing that there would be at least one or two like, oh, I've got a story for you. Literally people doggy bags for jelly, they'd make us breakfast. Some places
you get in the Jeep community, like it's a pretty good, right? I mean
yeah, it was
I'm
amazing.
not saying it's a safe space, but for the most part, people are pretty good.
It really was. It really was. I mean, even one guy was like, "Oh yeah, I've got a place." It was in not Nashville. It was in anyway one of the towns in Tennessee, West Tennessee.
Yeah.
Anyway, and he was like, "Yeah, no problem." We show up, or I think I messaged him right before I get there. He was like, "Yeah, no problem. Your room's in the back." He was actually in like South or North Carolina on the beach.
Outstate.
He wasn't even home. He was like, and I was like, "I can't stay here." He goes, "Yeah, no problem. I know who you guys. You're fine. Like, just stay there. No problem." And I'm like, so we stayed at this guy's house. He wasn't even at home. He just,
Wow.
like, here's the key. Stay the night, which was kind of. I almost didn't do it because it just was.
I feel like you guys, and that was 2019.
That was 2020,
give or take it.
But then
And I think you guys timed that so well on that, call it the road trip period of life right there in generating content. Because if you'd have done that in 21, I don't think it would have had the same impact, right? Because by 21, everybody was a YouTuber doing it.
Yeah.
Everybody was on the road in their RV or in their, Jeep or in their overland rig and doing it. And you guys did it before all that.
Right. So, and a lot of people have actually told us the reason they quit their jobs or retired and bought this stuff was from watching our channel going, well, if they can do it, we can do it.
Yeah.
They've all started YouTube channels too. Some are successful, some are not so much, but yeah. So then you gotta think we're still homeless.
Yeah.
And we were at our mom's house in Texas, and she told me when we got married, I could never own a motorcycle again. I used to be into street bikes. And somehow I talked her into going to a dealership to look at these street bikes. And while we were there, I had her like talked into it. I had her talked into.
I was this close to saying yes.
I was getting a BMW 1000 RR.
The issue with
oh boy,
marriage, where you're both like automotive enthusiasts, is that you don't have one person, usually like the wife, to be like no, because usually with enough, like I'm like, oh, maybe that would be. Oh, okay, yeah, let's.
What's your reasoning? What's your take? Why no?
Motorcycles?
Yeah. Is something in your lifetime that happened, or a background, or just
They're dangerous, and I'm too young to be a widow.
And I'm an idiot on a bike for sure.
And he's the type, if it can go 200 miles an hour, we'll pop it out.
I mean, we have a little bit of that in our household. My wife is not a big sport bike fan. Is not a big motorcycle fan. So I sometimes reluctantly commit to, okay, I'll stay off and I won't ride. I mean, I had Mel Wade's bike here, a friend of mine from Evo Manufacturing for 3 months or 2 months it sat here, and I told her, all right, I won't ride it. She's like, you can go ride. She's like, I don't want to, if you don't come back. I'm like, so we kind of have that.
To my defense, I've never said no to really anything else. And I have told him that if he really wants to ride a motorcycle, he can do it on a track. Like if he wants to do like moto stuff,
do some
where you're fully geared up, and I've given him permission to do that.
Chest protector, helmet, boots.
Yeah. So we're at this motorcycle dealership.
Hold on one second. I'm gonna turn a light on.
Yeah. So we're at this motorcycle dealership, and she's kind of giving in. Like she's pretty much, I've pretty much got her. And then I get a message, hey, can you help me sell my Ultra 4 car? I have this bomber for sale. And I was like, sure, how much? And he told me, and it was, I mean,
who was selling the car? Who was it? Who was that?
Yeah, God, you're gonna put me on the spot like that. Stinger Motorsports in Michigan. He was in Michigan. I'd have to look at his name.
I think I know who that was. It was a bomber, right?
Originally Cody Wagner's dad's car.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's why I know.
Back in 2014.
It was one of the original China bombers. It drove one of the ones that drove on the Great Wall of China.
Yep. I know the car.
Yeah.
So he asked me that, and we had been out. We had actually earlier in 2020 went out to our first Ultra 4, like our first King of the Hammers, to go check it out. That was our first time out there. And I just fell in love with them. I was like, oh my God, I want a 4400 car, but we can't afford that. It's too crazy. So here I am about to drop like 35 grand on a motorcycle. And he tells me he only wants like 50 for this Ultra 4 car. And she's like, you can buy this Ultra 4 car if you don't buy this motorcycle.
That was my deal. I said, I'll let you buy that if you don't buy this motorcycle. And then we owned an Ultra 4.
So I called him. I was like, dude, I don't need to post it. I'll buy your Ultra 4 car. And he's like, no shit. I'm like, yeah, for real.
Keep in mind, so this 50 grand that we decided to spend on this Ultra 4 car was the down payment for a house that
After
we had
being-
been saving up
for 2.5
after
years on
being
the road.
homeless for
That's
two.
that was pretty good chunk of money. How do you get that? What's the argument? It's going to be content? Is it just going to be playtime?
We're gonna race King of the Hammers. I mean,
Oh,
We're just dumb. It wasn't for content. It was just like, that looks really sick. We want that, and that's
it.
But it worked out.
And let's be honest. How many motorsports can you go right to the Super Bowl, right to the championship, right to get into a 4400 car and go right to King of the Hammers?
yeah, I see what you're saying. I see what
You
you're
can't
saying.
do that in F1. You can't do that in NASCAR. You can't do that in drift, in Formula Drift. Like, there's no way that you can just take a car, buy it.
I think most people don't realize that from an entry standpoint. If you want to go professional drifting, you got to pay the dues, right?
Yeah, you have to work your way.
Now,
Yes.
there was a slight caveat to all of it. It was during COVID. You had to at least just qualify. You had to run at least one Ultra 4 race before King of the Hammers, or you could do last chance qualifying. But we didn't want to leave it up to last chance qualifying.
Yeah.
So our very first Ultra 4 race in the Bomber was at Area BFE.
Yep. I remember
was
that.
Brutal. That was so brutal.
Super rough course.
Yeah.
Super rough course.
But we finished 14th.
Yeah, we finished the whole. We were one of the I think only 15 or 16 people finished the whole race anyway.
Yeah,
So
the attrition was huge at that race.
So we didn't. I mean, I think not quite 100, but a lot, like 60 or 70 cars started, and we finished 14th out of like only 18 that finished. But we finished our first ever 4400 Ultra.
So we got into.
So we qualified,
and that was with no tune shocks. The shocks were just off the shelf.
Yeah,
And
boy, talk about a brutal race.
Yeah, and the power steering went out in the second lap, where I had to be on, like, at idle or going downhill, it wouldn't steer, it was just locked up. So I had to be every downhill, I had to be brake, and I had to be on the gas.
Be on it, keep the RPMs up.
So I had no power steering, and the shocks were basically 2x4s.
Oh, and I didn't even realize my Hans device had come unclipped at some point in the first lap. And
Oh boy.
So I
had whiplash. It was like it was a terrible race.
It was a terrible race.
Yeah, and that was your first race. That was
Yeah.
your first. Yeah,
We
the
almost
first
did-
race is always brutal because you learn all the little stuff, like, you know, how your belt's adjusted. You know, like you say, what helmet works or doesn't work. You know, you're hot in your fire suit or too cold in your fire suit. You know,
Yeah.
you wore the wrong shoes. Like you're doing all this. The gloves are chafing, like everything, right? It just.
And even before the race, we had got under there and looked, and we were leaking T-case fluid, and the output shaft in the back of the Atlas was cracked and falling apart, and so we weren't gonna be able to race. And luckily, North Shore Raceworks was there, and he goes, "Dude, I've got a spare output section, and just take it off this, put it on your." And so they helped us, which was our first introduction of people helping. Like, here's guys we're gonna race against, who literally are taking apart their spare transfer case to help me.
That doesn't
Put together
happen.
mine.
That doesn't happen in almost any other motorsport.
Yeah,
To help you get to the starting line.
I feel like sometimes the Jeep community and that off-road community and racing or in that arena are kind of one and the same. That people are always willing to help, right? They're always willing to. If you got an issue, you got a broken axle shaft, you've got to need a help changing a pump or transmission. Like, it can be anything. Like, there's always people that are willing to help and get you back going again. Like, it's cool. It's very cool.
That was a crazy, if you think about that timeline, that's all 2.5, 3 years from the time, like, the YouTube channel, Hyperdrive, Homeless, to racing Ultra 4. So like that. So we bought a Jeep in 2018, and in 2020 we bought an Ultra 4 car. like, and then we raced King of the Hammers, and then we freaking finished like 21st.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I remember that.
Like, well, that's when we swapped to Nitto, right? As soon as we bought the Ultra 4 car, I was like, hey.
I remember that conversation. I think we got on the phone and you're like, we need a better tire. Like, I don't know that the branded X is going to work on what we were trying to achieve. So, and you said, we just want to finish.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, we couldn't fit. Like, everybody expected us to fail, right? Our fans wanted us to win. Our haters, of course, want us to fail.
Well, the deck stacked against you. The attrition rate's pretty high at King of the Hammers, right?
And then,
for seasoned guys, it's even high, right?
Right. And then you have all these people that are like, who are these flashy people in the bomber with the bright yellow and blue Bilstein suits taking photos with everybody and having
Signing autographs.
Like, who are these yahoos? Like, people are literally just talking, like other racers are like, who the hell do these people think they are? Signing autographs, taking photos with like hundreds of people.
I'll say I witnessed a little bit of that. And I heard a little bit of the the banter and the all the I would have saw that. There was a lot. You were the YouTubers, the Jeep YouTubers at that point. You had carved out that niche, and what are you guys doing here? There's always this perception within YouTube that you're just killing it, making money hand over fist, and money to burn and that type of stuff. And there was also a fear, I think, that you guys weren't taking it seriously. Like, do they know that this is a tough race? Like, do they know that their ass is going to get kicked? Like,
and I will say we didn't know, like we really didn't know what to expect, but that was kind of part of the fun of filming, because we also film stuff that no one ever knows about or hears about when it comes to like off-road racing. Like
how to put on a condom catheter at 6 o'clock.
There's no book for dummies on racing, right?
Or the fact that you have to wear one, or like there's little nuances that, because everyone sees the King of the Hammers videos where it's just the sick action shots, but like the reality of what you go through.
It's that way in all forms of off-road or motorsport racing, I think. I mean, I can remember my first time, my first Baja 1000, we pulled over and got out of the car to take a leak, and I didn't know any better. Nobody told me that you never stop, like keep it moving, Nobody told me. I thought we had time. Like, I thought we could pull over, so.
I will say a condom catheter doesn't go on while you're blasting. So, like, luckily I have a wonderful assistant to help. Now I know why a lot of these moto guys and other guys have hot girls around all the time.
Boy. So you guys finished the race, and I got to believe that your guys' fan base was pretty stoked at that point, right? I mean, the content coming out, it's got to be great, because it's stuff that they maybe had never seen before, right?
And that's the thing, is not only did we bring a lot of our subscriber base who'd never heard of Ultra 4 racing or King of the Hammers before, like, to it, but what was really rad is we spent months leading up to the race telling our subscribers about it, and that we needed their help, because I'm usually the one that's filming a lot of times, unless I'm driving, then he is. But normally I'm doing most of the filming, but I was going to be in the co-driver's seat. I was navigating, I was co-driver. I wasn't really going to be able to film. And so we actually requested help from our subscribers to get outside footage of our car throughout the race course. And when we finished, within the week or two after King of the Hammers, we had hundreds of videos emailed to us from subscribers.
So if you watch that first King of the Hammer video,
I watched it. Yeah,
none of that is from our subscribers that stood out at every single rock course and every single desert area and filmed with their phones or their cameras and then emailed them to it, which is insane.
It was really rad, because even after the fact, I mean, the race finishing was such an incredible feeling, especially because I feel like so many people underestimated us, which I get, because most people saw us as the YouTubers, and a lot of people don't know our background, and that he has a background racing.
No, I don't think anybody did it, as I recall. I don't recall it.
No one really, except our subscribers, who've seen us wheel and seen us drive and seen me spot and seen me navigate.
But jeeping and racing Ultra 4
are two different things.
Yes.
But
being mechanically, having mechanical sympathy, listening to a car and being smart, which, like, even in drifting, knowing how hard to push, when to push, all that, and having years of experience driving that way, and drifting and off-roading aren't the same, but at this point I have 2.5, 3 years of rock crawling.
Yeah, your mechanics are the same, right? When you're overdriving a Jeep, when you're overdriving a race car, sounds,
right.
Seat of the pants, something vibrates, doesn't feel right. Like, I think there's a lot of commonality there.
Right. And I know I've had dirt bikes and four-wheelers and stuff growing up, and I grew up in Vegas in the desert. So I know how to drive fast in the desert. Do I know how to drive fast enough to, like, keep up with the fast guys like Lauren and stuff? No. But to get through the desert at a quick pace and to get through the rocks, like, it all really came together. And then her navigating, Oh my God, we went around so many people that were just like
lost.
and she's like, go right there, you know.
And I can't tell you how many times he questioned me in the race, and I was like, and you kind of have to do that. Like, he's like, oh, are you? Because someone would veer right, and I'd be like, don't follow him, go straight. They're going the wrong. Are you sure? Yes, go straight. And
Because sometimes they were bigger name people that I recognize their cars. I'm like, surely they're not going the wrong way. Why would I trust you? But she was right. We would go around.
Did you guys pre-run the course at all, or did you guys get a chance to do any pre-running out there? Just jump right in.
We pre-ran.
We walked.
Well, we pre-ran the desert lap at like a slow pace,
And it walked the rocks.
We didn't pre-run. We walked, I think, 4 rock courses, and that was it. The rest we just kind of
Because you got to think, when we showed up, I had an alternator, a front rear drive shaft, and a power steering pump,
and 1 spare tire.
No, we had more. We had more. Yeah. We had plenty of wheels and tires. But I'm saying, as far as parts on the car go, if the transmission took a crap, if the front rear diff took a crap, if I damaged any of those things, we were out. So I was like, we can't do that. So we would drive to the trail, and we went and walked Spooners, and went and walked Outer Limits, and went and walked Wrecking Ball, and so we went and walked these trails and spent
Which
the day.
I think is a smart way to do it. If you don't have a dedicated pre-runner, like, why are you beating up a race car, right? I mean, that's my take on it.
It panned out, and not a single flat on the Nittos. Which, I mean,
we
finished good tire, but that's
hammers. We finished the race with the same spare tire we started with.
Yeah, we've had Nittos had really successful luck there with the that latest incarnation of what we'll call the K spec, right?
Yeah.
So it's done really well in that arena, but it's purpose built for that arena, right? I mean, it's not the lightest, it's not the squishiest, it's not the softest compound, it's not a lot of things, but what it does do well is that environment. It does do well.
For sure. And it was really weird, like, running the tires with no valve stem in them at first to try to get a little more, because the Bomber is light. The Bomber's a light car. And then nobody would tell you what tire pressure to run. Like, that's one of those.
Yeah, there is some trick. I don't know if it's trickery or just not wanting to share, or people don't know. Maybe I don't.
I'll tell you, I put 20 psi in them because the sidewall is so stiff and because the Bomber is so light. And I knew we weren't going to be doing 120 in the desert, right? I knew I wasn't going to be keeping up with the Gomez or Lauren Healy or any of those guys.
Yeah.
We knew we were just going to run a good pace.
Any of the IFS races.
Right. So I figured, a little more squish and a little slower, because that could affect your handling high speed in the desert. But I knew we weren't going to be going that
super
crazy fast. Like, we were mostly between 60 and 90. And then on the salt flat, we hit 114. Yeah. The lake bed, we hit like 114.
Yeah, those some of the guys now are hitting their pressures. They just keep increasing, right? So a lot of them 36, 38, 42. Like the pressures are increasing quite a bit.
Yeah.
Well, we're talking 20 cold in the morning when it's what?
Yeah, so you're getting to 25-ish, stiff sidewall, lightweight car.
Right.
Still gives you enough cushion in there. You're not going to pinch flat it. You're not rocking into something at 120 and pinch flatting. No, it runs all over the place. Air pressure, and it's a lot of it's perception. Some people can run low pressure, never have any issues.
Right.
Some people run low pressure and they have issues. So
this is 2021 now, February, right? So we raced that.
Yeah.
And we're still homeless. We still have
still haven't picked a place yet, or
No,
oh wow! So where are you living during all this? Like, where? I mean, you're at Hammers. What are you staying in?
We just rented an RV from the RV
place down the street.
From the RV place on the street. We were just stay with friends.
It was him, I, and our one mechanic, and then one friend that came with us, and that was the whole team. That was it. And then we rented out a pit crew. So
dust jump.
We rented out
Hartman and the gang.
Yeah.
So
amazing.
We're not doing it anymore, but they did it for our 2 years. So then we literally, as we left King of the Hammers, we bought a house.
Yeah, the first King of the Hammers. So
it's like as soon as we left, we bought a house here in Utah, and we finally had a home. We signed it at Jeep Beach. We signed it on your birthday?
At Jeep Beach.
April 2021, we finally got a house. So we were homeless from end of 2018 through April of 2021. And
Wow.
through our King of the Hammers. So
That's
well,
that's pretty impressive.
from 19. So all half of
2.5
19,
years.
all of 20, and all of 21. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive. And so you guys got the house, and then it gives you kind of home base. Does the content keep growing at that point? Are things still moving in a positive direction? I mean, a lot of YouTubers complain about plateaus. A lot of YouTubers complain about, you know, algorithm changes, right? You guys,
So the thing is and a lot of YouTubers like chase the algorithm. We always kind of just, and don't get me wrong, it's kind of screwed us a lot. I say a lot. It has screwed us sometimes with videos because we don't really chase the algorithm. We just do things that we love and we enjoy.
Yeah.
And we make content out of it, and then we share it with our subscribers. And sometimes the algorithm hates it, and sometimes it loves it. But we've always we don't really chase money. We're not very money motivated. We're freedom motivated. We just want to live our life as best as we can, inspire others to do the same. And money helps because it gives you the freedom, but it's not our ultimate goal. So we've kind of done a really good job of finding that work-life balance in our life. Where like we maintain the YouTube channel, but our goal isn't to get millions of subscribers or millions of views even. It's just to do the things we love and hope that we inspire others.
Yeah, enjoy doing them. Like, because we upload Drift Week content, and we had we've had like 3 Corvettes now, and we go do Drift Week, and
our algorithm hates it.
Those videos only get 25-30% of
so
our normal.
It's coined you then as Jeep content, more or less. YouTube it penalizes you when you put something outside the sphere.
But
interesting.
People, even if only 30% get seen at that point, those people love it. They still love it. It brings some other people in, and
we're like, oh, I've never seen drifting before. This is really cool. It looks like so much fun.
So same thing. Going to Thailand, going to Hawaii,
travel videos,
going to Japan. We do those. We're not a travel vlog, and so we
went to Norway and got to Norway and Sweden. We got to drift on a frozen lake in Sweden
with Frederick Osbo.
Saw that. Yeah,
that video did horrible, but it was one of the coolest trips we've ever done. And so it's not our highest priority as far as chasing our algorithm, but
But your timing has been really good too. I mean, your trajectory kind of just in a short time span has netted a pretty amazing positive income, right? But you also like your timing, the video when Bronco came out, some of those videos I think did well. Like you guys you're call it luck, good timing. I don't know. Like it's been good.
It's definitely, YouTube is definitely about luck, timing, but also it's nonstop. We have not missed, like I said, it was 5 videos a week for a while, then 4 videos a week, then 3 videos a week, and then we've been at 2 for the past 2 years or so.
Do you find it makes a difference in that for those that are doing YouTube stuff? Is that did 5 net you more, or is it 2 bigger videos that ends up happening from a viewership?
So it's hit or miss, but we know people that can upload like every other day or daily and get the same amount of views as our 2 a week. But we also have people
that's what I'm getting at.
Once a week or once every other week that get the same amount of views as our 2 a week. It kind of depends on your content, how big your channel is. But the issue is for us is like the more you upload, the quicker you can potentially like wear yourself out. And that was kind of the twice a week we found was a pretty good sweet spot. It gave us enough time to not just find the content, film the content, edit the content, but also gave us like a day of rest here and there, which was nice.
Yeah.
Because the thing they don't tell you about YouTube is it's a 24/7 job. Holidays don't exist. Vacations don't exist. You have to upload no matter where you are. You have to hit your schedule.
So speak to that. I thought, because right now we're close to probably almost 800 videos on YouTube.
That's a lot.
You would think with a cachet of 800 videos that there would be enough income from those that you would make.
That's rolling through from people that find it, go back and watch old videos and all that.
That would almost be like a retirement plan, right? You have 800,000, 1,500, 2,000, 3,000 videos. Well, hell, I should be making $5-10 a month just off of those videos. Nope.
Doesn't work that way.
If you don't post for a month, you will make literally zero. You will make a couple $100.
Yeah.
And so there is no, there is there's no
the,
pain.
the incentive is to keep the machine moving.
Yes.
Right? I mean, that's
you don't get paid.
that's the incentive. So you guys bought a house, you moved to Utah, right? And then and obviously I think, had a big shop attached to that property there. What then? Did you change the format much, or just keep rolling with it?
We
Yes, but not by choice.
Yeah, we did. So the mechanic that helped us prep our Ultra 4 car for King of the Hammers, while we were at King of the Hammers, the first one, we were sitting around the fire, all having fun, drinking, and Kevin, joking but not joking, was like, "Hey, when we buy a house, you should totally come live with us and be our like full-time fabricator mechanic." We bought a house. We reached out to him. We're like, "Hey, we bought a house. Come be our full." And he said yes. And he moved in. And so Chris was his name. He basically lived with us, was a full-time fabricator, master fabricator mechanic. He used to be on West Coast Customs.
Yeah.
Dude's a genius when it comes to fabrication.
Mhm.
And so he had lived with us for the 2 years or almost 3 years that we owned that house, because obviously we just moved. But yeah, he lived with us, and so we got to incorporate a lot of shop content and build content into the YouTube channel instead of just the travel or wheeling content.
Yeah, a lot more tech oriented, I think. Right?
Yeah.
So that brought new people in.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, after a little while, I ended up breaking our Jeep.
Mm-hmm.
Well, actually, we went to the next King of the Hammers. We finished again, did better. That was a harder
Did even
year.
better.
Yeah, did even better.
Yeah.
And then we ended up breaking our Jeep, and we broke an axle shaft and a transfer case. Not a huge deal, but this is the same time Atlas was like coming out with a transfer case for the JL. But we're like, oh, we'll have it to you in 60 days. 60 days turned into 90, 90 turned into 4 months, turned into 5 months, and it's been apart for so long, and you're just like, well, why don't we go? It's been apart. Like, why don't we order some new wider axles instead of the stock width? And why don't we try doing some crazy suspension and triangulated for it? And so so that the Jeep was down for almost a year.
I say so. Instead of just fixing the Jeep and getting back up and running, it was down for almost a year getting built. But it's turned into like
a crazy monster
at this point.
So we fell off with a lot of content. So there's a lot of shop content, a lot of us traveling. And honestly, at that point, we had been working our butts off for so long. That whole year we traveled. We went to Thailand for a month. We went to Hawaii. We went to
we kind of took vacations we weren't supposed to be taking as far as YouTube was concerned.
Yeah.
But
Chris kind of handled the shop, and the YouTube channel turned into kind of mostly shop content. And
I think it was good content. Like, it was good, some good tech stuff, it was good.
Yeah, no, it was awesome. And it was really nice for us, but we've gotten to the point now where Chris has moved on. We've moved to a new home. We no longer have the shop, but we are also, now the Jeep is done and it's back up and running, and we're going to get back to the traveling and the wheeling that we haven't done in the last year or so, which we're actually really excited about, because although it was nice to kind of take a break from that, because it was so many years of just go, go, go and living out of the Jeep, that it was nice to have a break, but now we're kind of ready to get back into it again.
Oh, I missed it. We went to Airbnb just at EJS, and I was trying all the hard lines and trying, like, oh my God, this thing's a beast. I love it so much.
It is fun when you take a little break and you come back to it, right? You kind of forget that the challenge of wheeling, and then just the group of people and everything else, and it's easy to fall back into, right?
Yeah. And we didn't step away. We were still doing stuff, but just not
as much
or the extent. And I guess to your question about the YouTube channel plateauing, I think it started to kind of hit a plateau with that, because it was mostly shop content. Most people followed us for wheeling and off-road content and stuff. And people love the shop content, but only so much. And so it's kind of working out perfect where we're getting back into wheeling. The channel's picking back up again almost instantly, The
destination content seems to do better.
Yeah.
So
we're actually leaving tomorrow to head to Jeep Beach, but Jeep Beach isn't for a week and a half. But what we're doing is we're hitting Arizona, Texas, Oklahoma, Alabama. We're going to hit wheeling
parks and go
all
wheeling.
the way. So we're going to travel a day, wheel for a day, travel a day, wheel for a day, travel all the way to Florida. And then we'll probably do that all the way back home.
That sounds like fun.
We're going to off-road we're going to wheel our way to Florida.
Yeah.
When you tell
Yeah,
the
that sounds like fun. I mean, I think that formula, it works. People love to see, having, been now with a company that we've done a lot of the, JKXs, we used to call them, now we call them kind of Jeep experience, and doing, road tours and that type stuff, that people really resonate with that content of travel and going places that they can't go. Right. Or haven't gone yet. So, or scared to go even, right? Like up to Alaska and, Arctic and that type of
that
stuff.
trip was
So
awesome.
Yeah.
That trip was crazy.
yeah, you just, and you really see that when people, I run into it all the time, where they say, man, that Arctic trip, it looked crazy. I was like, it was crazy.
It was crazy. Yeah. I am glad we took a Bronco though, the Brasher instead of the Jeep. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, good. And how's the Bronco content been? And, you guys jumped into, you made waves with the right out of the gate, talking about the leaky top and the, you called out all the stuff that nobody wanted to talk about. And and you did, you chucked it on the table.
Well, that's one thing we've gotten well known for on our channel is like integrity wise, we kind of say it how it is.
Weirdly, it pisses people off to hear. I don't know why you get mad to hear
you have a Jeep Colt, right? That
I
Jeep
get it.
can never do wrong. Then you have a Ford Bronco Colt. They can't ever do wrong.
Yeah, we're all brand loyal in some respects, right? You talk trash about my New Balance shoes, like the New Balance shoes are good to me. What are you doing?
Exactly. And so, but honestly, the Bronco content has been doing amazing. We've got a lot of people that want us to do more of it. The thing is like, and we rock crawl. We have a Bronco Raptor now, but we rock crawl Raptor, and like we rock crawl it, like way more than an IFS generally is pushed to, but it actually does extremely well.
It does.
You just have to be cognizant and have mechanical sympathy and know how an IFS works and how to keep it out of binding and stuff like that.
Yeah, it does really well.
But it actually does really
We
well.
haven't done a lot of content lately. People have asked for it, but honestly, we've been trying to get the Jeep together, and I just want to drive that Jeep.
Yeah, and there's not, oddly enough, you'd think there'd be more crossover, but Bronco owners in a lot of surveys and stuff are new owners, right? They're new to the community, so to speak, of adventure trail riding and getting outdoors. And maybe they have some outdoor background, but they're Ford loyalists, right? They got a Mustang and a Super Duty, and so I've seen a lot of that in some of our research that they're not taking Jeep sales; they're just adding more outdoor people to more to the community.
Yeah, when the JL first came out, a lot of the people that bought it had never owned a Jeep before. It was a lot of new Jeepers. I mean,
when the JKU came out, like
when the JK came out, it was ugly because I mean that was kind of really pre-social media, and it was just this, there was a lot of forums, right? And it would just, you couldn't say anything positive about it. It's got plastic bumpers. It's too long. It's got a minivan motor. Like it went on and on and on. I mean, but yet oddly enough, for all the negative naysayers, I remember going to Easter Jeep Safari the last year of the TJ, and like Easter Jeep Safari was dead. Like it was dead. It had almost like felt like run its course. And then it wasn't but a year. The next year it was like, oh, look, JK in town. Like we were all excited, And then the year after that, there's JKs everywhere and they'd taken over. I mean, and it saved Easter Jeep Safari. Yeah. I truly believe that.
You come out with a 4-door Jeep and all of a sudden now the wives can't say no because there's lots of kids and there's
toss your kid and the dogs in the back, and you got plenty of room, and it makes sense as not everybody at the time could have a TJ as their commuter / wheeler, right? But you can have a JK or a JL as a wheeler / commuter, right? And it just makes more financial sense. And the numbers show it. If you look at the numbers of JKs and JLs, I think there's since they launched JK, there's 1.6 million or something crazy in the market. Like it's a ton of Jeeps in the market, where Bronco, it's been a little while since I looked, but there are probably 140,000 in the market, 100,000 in the market, right? Not a ton yet. So, but I mean, change the game. And I think moving forward, you know, let's hope Jeep doesn't mess it up, but we'll see.
Yeah. So that moves us all the way up to the new house and Chris gone and the Jeep back together.
Yeah.
Now, new house, like not having kids or anything, right? Nothing, you know.
No,
nothing.
I'm fixed.
Yeah. Okay.
These are the only kids.
Yeah, the only kids needed.
Yeah. The one leave at home.
So you're gonna do this next year, a bunch of travel, gonna do a bunch of, you know, get back to some more content.
Yeah.
What's the future hold? What do you think, you know, where do you guys head from here?
Retire, move to Thailand. It's so cheap there.
It is. Honestly, it's our so we're not really good when it comes to, I mean, we've been really good at flying by the seat of our pants and things have worked out really well for us, but we don't do a lot of planning. And anyone who's, especially if you've like wheeled with us or anything, you'll know that we're very much just go with the flow kind of people. And honestly, our plan is just to ride the wave as long as possible. And then when the wave crashes, move on to the next fun one. I mean, it's really just keep doing what we love for as long as people want us to do it. And when they don't, we'll keep doing what we love anyways and figure out another way to make it work for us.
I mean, hopefully some of these brand companies are still coming out with cool stuff. I did see the new 4Runner drop yesterday. Looks cool. Still no front locker. I'm assuming it has A-Track or A-Tech or whatever, the 8-track.
Yeah, they're fancy traction stuff. But
Yeah, the rear locker, no actual front locker. It looks really cool.
It does look cool. Styling's great. You know, huge upgrades in interior and
it looks really good. But like
third row seat option, I thought was cool.
Yeah,
I thought you know, if you got a fam and you just need something a little smaller, a little more nimble, I thought that's a pretty cool.
Do it. Like I have a Bronco Raptor. I mean, people, we want to see you in a Toyota, but like, how many people want to see a brand new $60,000-$70,000 Toyota and like to do?
We also have our Unimog though.
That won't ever get done.
If the Unimog ever gets done, that'll be sick.
That'll never get fixed.
Not with that attitude.
So, I don't know. You know,
the Toyota content would be good. Toyota's, you know, huge world brand, right? I mean,
they're big as the
global.
Jeep, just different. Same thing.
Yeah.
Different.
I mean, they don't sell as many, you know. I mean, I shouldn't say that. They never. So when they had FJ Cruiser, right? They never could get FJ Cruiser out of the gate to be a real Jeep competitor. I think in FJ Cruiser's best year, they sold 10,000 units a year. And then it dipped down to like 7,000 units. And during that same time frame, JK was like 100,000 units a year. Like they were killing it, you know, but you can't beat the argument of some of the reliability, some of the traditional Japanese over engineering that goes into it. But I do think the space for Toyota has gotten pretty crowded, right? You got the new Land Cruiser, which isn't terrible to look at. It's not bad. You got
the same for 4Runner. They squished it down to a 4Runner.
Yeah.
Like on the platform, same chassis.
Yeah, exactly. You got the 4Runner in that space, and then you've got the Sequoia, you know, TRD Pro from a big, you know, family hauler standpoint.
Yeah,
it's kind of a crowded segment, I think. You got the Grand Highlander, which is they put in the large SUV category in with Tahoe and Suburban and everything else, which is a little strange because that's where Sequoia sits too, even though it's unibody.
That's what I'm saying. I like stuff that's more unique. So the Bronco Raptor fixed that, right? You can rock crawl it, you can go fast.
It is unique.
Daily it. So the Bronco Raptor really fits that, like, hey, let's go test what Ford actually did. And they did a great job. I was hoping Toyota or Nissan or somebody would come out with something that was on that Jeep or Bronco Raptor or some kind of level. Because I mean, I almost bought a Raptor R just to have a crazy supercharged V8 thing to go Baja. But like, by the time you spend that money, I can just buy a luxury pre-runner race truck and actually go to Baja.
I could tell you it'll probably never happen. Japanese are super conservative. Like they just, it's just not, they just play a very safe game and a safe global game. Right. And they, you know, that some of those vehicles are pretty unique to us here, but platform wise, they're attached to South America, Australia, right? Middle East. So they just play a really, safe game on that end of things. And what could you do to make it cool? Are you going to put a long travel kit on it and coilover bypass? Like, yeah, that'd be cool, but it'd still be underpowered.
Yeah.
Right.
It'd still be, you know, it ticks the box, I think, for a great reliability, but you
And how
know,
many people have done the Toyota pickups, or I can pick up a right-hand drive Hilux and go beat the crap out of it like these. But how many people have Toyotas that beat the crap out of? I don't know why people would want to see
well,
me do the same thing as some of these other people do with older Toyotas, like mid.
no, and the price point used to be more on par with Jeep, right? I think you were more on this even wavelength as far as you could buy a Tacoma or you could buy a JL. The new pricing, I mean, JL went crazy and now Tacoma's gone crazy, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, you're kind of like, well, they're both got super expensive. Are they, you know, now they're kind of competing more head to head, but they're different. I mean, they're
Well,
different.
I will say we could just really go stick with the Jeep and go to all the places we haven't been, which is like a million more places.
Yeah.
Like we haven't been anywhere. There's stuff all up and down the East Coast. There's stuff up north.
Yeah.
We haven't even been to South Dakota yet, to the Black Hills.
Oh, amazing wheel in there. Amazing.
You know what I mean? So like there's so
much.
there's so much to do, and sure, other people have done it, but we haven't done it, and our people want to see us do it, or they like us telling the story or us doing it.
Yeah.
So I really think we have years of content of just exploring new places and
that and Kevin, I say recently, 2 years ago, we came up with a plan that we're following through with this year.
You know, the order I just put in for all the tires.
It's something no one's ever done before because no one's been dumb enough to do it before. But we're dumb enough, and the friends that are going to be coming with us are dumb enough to do it. So I can't give it away.
Yeah. I know what you guys are talking about. I know you guys, but I think the plan is good.
Yeah, it's more for entertainment than anything else, but I think it'll be a lot of fun. A couple little things like that where it's just us enjoying
outside the box a little bit.
Yeah.
And then we add 1 or 2 subscribers next year to bring their own and try their luck.
Yeah.
You know, but at least we have to get the first one off the ground so they can know what to expect. So they
when
don't show up.
are you going to make that public? When's it?
Pretty soon.
Pretty
About a month?
probably maybe soon.
Any teasers you can share? Anything?
So people keep saying, you know, I love the Stepchild and how big it is, but it makes everything look so easy, even the hard stuff.
Because it's like a cheater rig.
And they say, I miss when you had a stock JL on 33s or 35s or a small lift and 35s and doing hard trails.
So we listened to that, but we're going to do you one better. And it's going to be even worse than a stock JL on 35.
It's going to be worse than any stock JL, JK, TJ, YJ. It's worse than all of them.
Because you want to see what a factory level vehicle can do and what
or not do what most people consider a very incapable vehicle. We'll show you exactly how capable or
in the hands of people who are capable. So like if we can't get it through there or can't do stuff, then
they're definitely not.
Yeah. So
and a price conscious end of things too. Yes.
Yeah, and a lot of people have done like budget build stuff, but this is unlike I think any other.
Those people have always cheated. Those budget builds, they call them $5,000 XJ or ZJ budget build, and they're really $10,000, $12,000 by the time you're done.
Yeah, some of them, like the rally down there in Oregon, right? It's
or I found this one Facebook guy that gave me $5,000 worth of stuff for $500. Like, no, he didn't. Like, you either you have to go off what the price of the things are. So this is really literally the most budget full drive vehicle ever. And we're gonna have a fleet of them, and we're gonna go have fun in them. So that's
it's in the Jeep family.
The Jeep family.
Jeep family. Yeah. And it's either gonna be the coolest thing, greatest idea we've ever had, or it's going to be
fail miserably
nightmare. But either way, it's gonna be really entertaining.
And I think fun. I know you guys shared it with me. I can't wait till you guys make it public. I think it'll be fun. So more importantly in life, right?
Yeah.
So yeah.
And we might do it once or twice a year, at least once a year. And then we just add 1 or 2 people like, hey, come on, try your luck at this. And, you know, I think we'll find some characters in Yahoos along the way who want to do it for the gram type of thing. You know, you're like, well,
and you might find some great collaboration with other YouTubers, other channels. Like there might be some great collaboration there, which sounds Could be a win-win all the way around.
So that's this year. I mean, we have a lot going on. What else we at? What other questions you got?
Well, I only got one last question. It's always the hard one because I get asked sometimes about your guys' OnlyFans page, and we can edit this out if you guys don't want. But I always get the, hey, did you know they got an OnlyFans page? I get it I get it all the time, and I'm not the OnlyFans guy. Like I probably don't know anything about it. Maybe I should know more. But
You don't need to. You don't need to.
no, but it comes up in this undercurrent circle, like, and it's always a negative. And I always hate when people try and position that, especially with myself, because people may know that we have dialogue, or people know that we have we're partners on projects or whatever it may be, right?
Yeah.
And so and yet, I feel like it's I don't know anything about it, right?
So for the record, it's probably the least best kept. Like, it's not a secret at this point.
But we don't.
And I don't think you guys have ever.
We don't know.
Like for me, you've never kept it a secret. I've never asked. Right?
We're very honest about it, very open about it, but we don't promote it. And it's not something that you just. It's one of those things. It's like a word of mouth thing. You maybe stumble upon it.
Yep.
Because
Well, you don't really stumble upon it.
you don't. There's really no way to stumble upon it. Like, if you know it exists, it's because someone told you, or you went looking for it.
Right.
So, which is fine. I mean,
well, my understanding is it's amazing. Like YouTube, it's an amazing dollar aspect into things. Like it's
an insane amount of dollar aspect. It's
so and that's the thing. Is like, a lot of people can talk crap as much as they want, and I'm sure there's a lot of people that want to hate.
Well,
But
I learned long ago that long ago, and this still plagues me today. As successful as you are in your own mind or your own right, or however you want to deem it, somebody else always wants to tear you down, right?
Yeah.
We always say
Always.
no one ever hates down.
Yeah.
No one ever hates.
You never
downward.
hate the guy standing on a street corner with a sign.
Yeah.
That guy's gonna hate a lot of people above him. So like, you're
you
hating
get my point, right? You get my point.
You never hate you hate on someone doing worse than you. You know what I mean?
Right.
Everyone always hates up, generally.
So it started out as no for years. People asked us to do it, and we said no. So then we just let's dip our toe in it. Let's just see. Let's do very just risque stuff. Let's not. And it blew up. It went. I mean, I don't want to get into numbers, but we'll say we'll just say monthly is more than the median people what people make a year.
So it's more than just making the mortgage payment.
It's retire it's retirement in 2 years, 3 years.
We could get to the point where we retire in probably 2 or 3 years.
Wow.
And that's one of the main reasons we do it. Also, for people who know us personally, like, we're a pretty open couple. We're very down to earth, and we live a kind of different lifestyle, and this sort of just falls in line with what we're already doing. It's not something like we're really ashamed of.
No, I feel like you guys have been always pretty, open and genuine, and you don't no, that's not me. I mean, you guys have always been, and it always, I get a little, sometimes I get, again, when I'm asked, sometimes I get frustrated because I'm like, why don't you ask them? Like, they're pretty open and honest people. Like, if you got questions, just ask.
People are always welcome to ask about it. And the thing is that the only reason we don't promote it on our other social media platforms is because I do know with the YouTube channel and the Instagram page and Facebook and stuff like that, we do have younger people that follow us.
Yeah.
And I know for a fact the YouTube channel, I know I have families that follow us. So I know a lot of people watch our content with their kids and stuff. And so I've always made it a point to try to keep those two things separate. So again, if you ever find the OnlyFans page, it's because you're looking for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's got to grab the plug in. So yeah. Oh, you want to take a break for 2 seconds? Grab the plug in. It's about to die.
No, I see your I look, the money from what I've heard is a crazy amount. I know you guys have shared a little bit over the years on it
Yeah.
in the time that we've talked, and it seems like a pretty crazy amount. So
I wouldn't do it if it wasn't a crazy amount. Like if it was just paying the mortgage, I wouldn't do it. Like, and I mean, but it is fun. And the other thing, there's a big misconception where people that haven't been on it, or it's just people that want to try to tear us down, where they're like, oh, she's on there screwing all these guys.
yeah.
So, and that she's not faithful and I'm letting her sleep. It's not. It's her, or it's me and her. And occasionally there's another girl.
Yeah.
And that's it. So it's not.
Yeah.
There's
And
different people every day or every week. There's no other guys ever. And obviously that's proven by being on the actual platform. So people like to say, oh, like, I'm letting my wife screw all these guys and do all this and that. You're like, that's not what's happening. Like, why are you just making this up?
no, and I think again, numbers wise, as far as the industry of I mean, OnlyFans and every other website, every other medium, right? It's massive. It dwarfs all economies. Right?
Yeah.
It does. That's it. If you take all of those, you're like, and you hear the number. I think there's a Netflix special I think I was watching on, I don't know if it was OnlyFans or the industry or something, a month or so ago, and I was like, whoa, like you're talking billions and billions and billions of dollars. Like it's crazy money. Right?
It is a lot.
It's
So
a lot.
for everybody that doesn't want to talk about it, like it's in our world, it's in our circle, it's in our face. Like it is.
These same people, I won't say every one of them because you don't know, but I would say these
Well,
same
now you
people
are living in Utah, so just you did move to the razor's edge of being in hell living in Utah. I'm just saying.
How many of these guys open their laptop and go to a triple rated site for themselves? So you're gonna talk crap about me, but you're gonna consume it yourself.
Yeah.
Like just think about that for a second. That's a kind of a weird thing to do. To like, oh, I can't believe da da da, and I have no respect for them. And then you're gonna open your phone and sneak off to the bathroom.
No, but there's a jealousy in life when people are jealous. We all know this, and people are jealous of somebody. They want to tear them down.
Yeah.
I mean,
And if I'm being honest, like if I knew someone else was making that amount of money by doing that little of work, like I'd be really fucking jealous too. Like I don't blame people because it requires very little to make a lot of money.
But I also get people do have their own moral compass, and people would never let their wife do it. Or in a lot of times they have daughters and they have whatever, and maybe they watch or they look up to Brittany. But again, that's why we don't post about it. We don't talk about it. We don't. I don't throw it. Have you ever seen me throw it in anybody's face? Like, oh my God.
No, you've never mentioned it. I've never been in a circle where you guys talk about it, anything, and honestly, even here in this medium, I debated, in even approaching the subject with you guys or bringing it up with you guys. The only reason I did was just because, again, from me and personally in my, sphere of whatever life we're in, people ask, and so I don't know and didn't know, I know one time you told me that I think we were in Alaska or somewhere, and you said the money's crazy. And I'm like, well, what's crazy? Like crazy, like paying the mortgage payment, crazy, like, paying buying a new boat crazy, or are we on to like, crazy?
Like buying a new boat a month crazy.
Yeah, that's okay. Enough said. Enough said.
To buy a new boat every single month in cash. Like,
enough said. Yeah. Well, maybe there's room for a middle-aged 51-year-old, because I can use a new boat.
But it's fun, and again, we're not.
When you're two consenting adults, it's honestly really fun, and weirdly, it's in a way that's really spiced up. like the marriage and stuff too. Like we genuinely enjoy it. And weirdly enough, so a few other things, like 99% of the fans that I have on there are incredibly respectful.
Weirdly,
Incredibly respectful.
I was very concerned about that, to be honest, about people getting obsessed, trying to show up to the house, trying to be weird.
Or be vulgar.
I would say only 1 out of 200 maybe talk too vulgar or get too comfortable.
Yeah.
But I mean, you're talking like it's a very small amount of people who just kind of like, I don't like the way he's talking. Like,
yeah,
you know, but nobody's overstepped boundaries either, which is pretty crazy.
So in that sense, it's actually been
and the format medium, I guess you guys control, right? You guys are the content creation. You control what outward facing is seen. So, you know, you're not being scripted or told what to do or any of that. So, I mean, I think that's different than a traditional porn video or something, right?
Yeah. And then on top of that, like, because I know some people say that, like, oh, well, I have, you know, like a daughter and she looks up to you. I promise you, like, your daughter is never going to find out about my OnlyFans from me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'm still the same. And that was kind of the reason too, that not the reason we waited so long, but I guess one of the benefits of waiting so long is I've been in the automotive industry and, you know, with racing and drifting and off-roading, the YouTube channel and all of this.
It doesn't change who you are.
I've been in the automotive scene for so long, and I've built kind of this reputation, like the validation for who I am, my knowledge and stuff. I'm not just like, oh, that's just that OnlyFans girl. Like, no, she
put in the time beforehand. So she's not all those girls who are 18, 19, 20 on Instagram saying, please follow my OnlyFans, go to my OnlyFans.
And that's
all they have. That's all they are, is their body and selling it.
Yeah.
She's proven herself. We've proved ourselves.
I have all that other stuff on top of.
Yeah.
This is why we waited for, like, if there was at least 3 or 4 years of people asking us, and we always said no, 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 no. Then it was like, well, I mean, people know you now. People know that if, like, they're not going to they can't just negate everything you've done and everything you've been and who you are.
They could try, but
and as you get a little older, a little wiser, you're like,
okay,
you got to stop trying to please other people.
I say you kind of stop caring so much.
Yeah, you got to worry about you and how to feed you.
Yeah,
you got about you and what roof you're going to put on. You got to figure. You can't worry about. It's part of the world we live in, right? You can't worry about what people talk to you on social.
Like our inner circle, even our outer circle of like friends and family, because my family knows. Most of his family knows. Like, it's not something we really keep secret, but like, no one cares. Like, as far as like our friends and stuff, like all of our friends still respect us. They all still love us. Like, if anything, it's an interesting other topic to bring up. Because
I appreciate you talking with me on it. So I mean, I didn't know, So
so we never planned to actually go as far as we did. It was that whole dipping your toe in and going. Well, that's nice. And then okay, that water's pretty, And so it just kind of went, and then it's like anything else. You start trying it, you get deeper into it, and it's like, wow, this is fun, this is cool. And again, if you're finding it, it's because either your friends are part of it and they know, or like you're not just finding out about it because we are publicizing it. So if you're finding out about it, it's because people are talking about it, not us.
Which is kind of fine.
Which is fine by me. If we were to go live with it on YouTube and Instagram and all the social media, if we were to say, hey, we have an OnlyFans, go follow, this is the link, we would.
Amount of money.
I bet you we would be somewhere between like the 300,000 and 500,000 a month.
Oh, geez.
I bet you. I bet you that now. But so we haven't done it though, because like she said, we're not just money motivated, and we're trying to make this a slow burn, right? If we were to do that, we'd probably lose 30-40% of followers. It would be this whole big fire on YouTube, right? People would be like, oh my God, I can't believe. But secretly they'd be like, oh my God, but then they'd go and they'd sign up. And
and again, your YouTube content's good, right?
Right.
I mean, it's good content. It's good it's good value, right? As far as
Yeah.
what
Right.
what your watcher consumer is watching, like, and what they're taking away from it. Like, I
Yeah.
think that's the bottom line.
We don't want to pull away from that, so we've decided not to. So we're like, okay, we're making X amount. It's plenty to afford our lifestyle, and we don't have to go public with it. We don't have to push it in people's faces. So take that blessing, go with it, and let it be word of mouth. Continue our YouTube, continue our Instagram, and leave those completely separate.
Yeah.
If at a last ditch effort, things are tanking here and there, and we decide to go out with a bang, then that's probably what will happen. If things start to just go downhill,
Retirement time, drop that bomb, and
and that's it. Make all this money and disappear. We
I
just
say,
flash in the pan and gone.
if you ever see that happen, we're 6 months from just like
the exit's near.
You're like, hey, let's go get a drink. I know you're moving to Thailand in 6 months. You're disappearing, because that's what happens. If you ever see it, if you ever see us just going like firing it on all cylinders,
retired,
it means, oh, we're almost at that retirement money. Let's just go out with the bang.
That's awesome.
And so that's our future, I guess. No, I don't know, but yeah, I mean,
I appreciate the insight into it. Like I say, I just it's just something that gets asked every once in a while. I don't always have the best answer, other than I think so. Type
they're
thing,
having
and
fun with life, and they found an extra.
I'll leave it with that. And for the most part, people move on. Like they're like, okay, great.
and that's it's either if you're into it, great, go subscribe.
yeah, I mean,
But like if you're not, you never have to see it or hear about it ever, because it's like it's
not.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's,
Twitter or Instagram, and it's not like every post is follow my OnlyFans. Nothing is there. So
I think you guys maintain a good separation. From an outside perspective, I think it's a good separation. You're not on Instagram, playing the game, trying to troll for more subscribers.
Right.
Like, you're not. I think you guys do a good balance of it, and you're both very personable people. You're very open, honest, and I think that shows through. I'll be honest. It's
we're pretty easy to talk to. I would never send anybody to hell for talking to us or asking us about it.
Yeah.
I've had people come up and or call or text and like, can I talk to you about this? And like, my wife is not, or my girlfriend. And I mean, I would never tell anybody.
You're a resource source for those that don't know, right? I mean, the reality of it. I mean, if you don't know how to get into that space and you don't know, I mean, you're easily accessible into it. You're not hiding in a sense.
Yeah, we're not hiding. We'll talk to you about it, but yeah, it's there. I mean, it's there, and it's gonna stay for the time being because it's just too. It's too much fun and too much money.
Yeah.
With a new boat in the driveway, like, hey,
We could buy the Ferrari, and we have.
I'm not gonna argue with you. So,
I mean, at one point we had like, I think I added it up. At one point we were at like 1.2 million in cars, and I'm like, okay, we have to sell this shit. This is ridiculous.
Well, you go through that phase where like you start making more money than you ever have, so you're like, whoa, and then you like buy all this stuff, but then you hit a point which we've hit now where we're like, we don't need all this. Like, this is too much. So we downsize.
That's the funny thing, right? You probably got that. What's going on with them? They're selling everything. Are they broke? Are they going broke?
Yeah, for sure. I heard that they're getting divorced. They're broke. YouTube's in the toilet. I heard it all. And
you know the funny part about that is, I got tired of, how how many batteries go bad when the cars sit? You know how many oil changes? How many but people don't think about
Just
this.
registering them.
Registering 14 cars.
I know exactly. I got my own little fleet here, and I just getting to the simple stuff, right? I gotta replace a heater core in a rig, and it's like, okay, I'm gonna do that this weekend. Well, no, actually, I gotta go to Kentucky this weekend, so maybe I'll do it like.
Or it's nice out. I'm gonna go drive the car that does work. Forget the car. Okay. So, batteries on 14 cars, registration on 14 cars, insurance on 14 cars, and you're just like,
it's just,
what the hell am I doing? I don't even drive these things. So
we got to a point where like it's too much. It doesn't make sense. We don't need all this.
The best.
We got to a point where we were actually missing living out of the Jeep, where it was
simple.
Us in the Jeep and the dog.
It was simple.
That's a pretty big moment there to realize what really makes you happy, right?
Good little life epiphany.
So it was. So it only took a year, right? We made all this money. We're spending all this money, and I'm like, okay, this is fun, but I don't need it. it brought so much stress trying to take care of that many vehicles and then not even be able to enjoy them. And so,
and then of course, Chris and Pam, his girlfriend, are having a baby now. And so we found out that they were leaving, and that just kind of solidified it.
right.
We're just going to downsize.
So it's funny. All these people like, yeah, they're getting divorced. They're not making any money. And I'm like, no, it's literally the opposite.
Complete opposite.
Like we're making more money than ever. And we're like, wait, why have all this stuff? Why stress out? Let's go back. If you go to simplify it and also, you're making all this money, then.
And also just being an adult and realizing like, well, we should probably be saving this money for actual retirement versus spending it all, kind of a thing.
Bank a little bit, but it's our human nature to buy more stuff, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like how many people can take off nowadays? How many people can just take off and go to Thailand for a month and just travel all over?
Not many. Yeah, not many.
Not many, right? You either have kids, you have your job, you have all this stuff. To go for a week or 2 weeks, kind of, but generally you don't get to go to like Hawaii for 2 weeks, Mexico for 2 weeks, Thailand for a month. You know what I mean? We spent most of the year on vacation. How is that? And then people, oh, they're doing terrible. Like, what? Have you not seen us all over the world?
Again, you're always gonna have the haters, right? It's just part of the circle, part of life, you know.
And I guess to some people to the outside, like people don't realize like how many sacrifices we have made since the YouTube channel started. Like quitting our jobs, going from making $100,000+ a piece career wise to like making $1,500.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that, you know, trajectory that you guys had in a very short amount of time, which, you know, if it had been a slow burn, maybe makes a little more, you know, sense, but you guys flipped the switch almost.
We were willing to make some really hard decisions that were sacrifices, like living on the road full time, living out of a Jeep, like staying with strangers, like doing things.
Camping on the side of the road because you're tired, you have no money for a hotel, or
things that a lot of people wouldn't want to do or wouldn't want to sacrifice. And on top of that, like YouTube is a 24/7 job.
Yeah.
Like you constantly have to be
feed the machine.
And you know, and I get it, if you don't have haters, you're not doing something right. Like that's just the name of the game. But it is funny how sometimes the haters really don't realize or see, or even just sometimes viewers, just how hard we've worked and how far we've come.
No, and we're all human, right? We're all human, and for the most part, most of us all have emotions, and it does hurt, right?
Yeah.
You can brush it off and like whatever, you know, but you know, we're all human in some respects. You know, and I know when I was younger, it used to bug me, and luckily as I gotten older, it doesn't. But you know, like you get more secure in your family life, your home life. You know, my kid, like everything. You just kind of like, yeah, I'm good. You know,
I know it was a super pompous dickhead thing to do, but somebody was saying something. They were being super mean with me and her, or whatever. I was like, oh yeah, you've got under my skin. Let me go cry in my Ferrari.
Yeah,
like
I see some of your social comments. You've been you haven't been banned in a while, so
no, I don't get banned anymore.
Yeah, that's interesting. I remember for a while there, you like disappeared for a month, and then hey, I'm back.
Yeah. I try to keep Kevin from reading comments more, so he's a little more quick to fire back than I am.
But it doesn't affect. I'm not sad.
I was gonna ask you that. Do you guys read the comments? Because a lot of YouTubers that I've run into, a lot of bloggers or podcasters, they don't read comments. Like a
lot of them don't, and I don't blame them either, because a lot of times you do get to the point where, like, for the sake of your own mental health, like some people have to just stop. For the most part, and not to say that we don't occasionally have a day where we're just like, man, like something might get to you, but for the most part, he and I are very easygoing. We're very go with the flow, and we're very upbeat people. And so the 1 in 1,000 comments that might be negative, it's very easy to focus on that negative thing. But we've gotten really good at primarily focusing on really the positive stuff, and just at the end of the day being like, again, no one generally hates down, you know? So if someone's hating you, it's generally...
And you can't let the negative energy in type of thing, right? It's just...
But we do make a point to try to read the majority of our comments, because, and we'll go through and we'll like them to try to let people, we don't get to respond to a lot of them because there's a lot, but we try to let our subscribers know that we are like active. We do see their support, kind of a thing.
Yeah, we heart or like the comments, so it's at least you get that. Like, I don't have time to sit there and type out something to everybody.
And
we still do.
We make ourselves very available throughout the year to our subscribers. Like, it's not often you have these people that you watch on a big screen, or like, a lot of people, I don't like the term celebrity because we don't see ourselves that way, but
No, but
you come to any Jeep event and meet us and hang out with us and spend time talking to us,
yeah, I mean, my I guess fly on the wall type of observation of a lot of YouTubers is that people really feel like they know you, right?
Yeah.
That you're in their lives. I mean, I've watched that with I think I've seen a little bit of that with you two. You see and hear it with the Cletuses and they're almost like they're instantly your friends because they know you, right?
Yeah.
They know what you've been through.
I'll have total strangers, like we'll do meet and greets at events, throughout the year, and I'll have complete strangers, like women come up and just huge hugs and like lift me off the ground and like, oh my God. No, I've never met this person in my life, but you just hug them back because at this point we get it. Like, to us, like, we're almost part of their family.
Yeah.
Like, right. They, they'll sit down twice a week and watch our videos with their family, their husbands, their kids, whatever. And like, the coolest part too is like I'll have kids come up and give me hugs. And like, if our YouTube videos can like keep the attention span of like a younger kid, that's pretty impressive to me.
Yeah. It's pretty crazy. Like, the amount of people who come up and just know so much and yeah, it's great. It still blows my mind that we have lines of people wanting to get autographs and take photos and meet us, or somebody that has a shirt that we've signed at every single event that he's been to for 3 years in a row, and we just sign all over the shirt multiple times. Like, it's pretty crazy.
And people think that like we get bored of it too. Or like, oh, I'm sorry, or I'm sure you hear this all the time. Or like, we don't get bored of it. Like,
no, I think it's always a good feeling when somebody recognizes you, right? And appreciates appreciates your content, appreciates what you've put together or done, or
it's cool to know that we can make an impact in someone's life. Like, oh, you inspired me to get a Jeep, or like, oh, like,
yeah.
I
got one. Or Barry Bonds buying the Recon grapplers.
We liked that one. That was pretty good. That was pretty good.
Literally, Barry Bonds is like, oh, I bought these tires because Lite Brite, and I'm like, what?
Like, it's pretty cool, and it's very inspiring to us. Like, it's like almost this full circle thing, like, because we always do our best to inspire our viewers to like live their life to the fullest, and knowing that we're accomplishing that when we meet people like face to face kind of just re-inspires us to continue doing what we're doing.
Yeah.
Well, keep doing it. That's my take on it. Keep doing it. Keep inspiring. I mean, I like the new plan, getting back on the road, putting down some miles, stopping and seeing some sights. Like that formula to me, I love. I think it's a win-win, and I think you guys got a good future ahead. I mean, it's been fun to watch the growth. It's been very fun to watch the growth. I didn't realize how early on you guys were. Some of those early videos I was watching, and maybe because you guys were putting out so much content at that time. Yeah. Some of the old videos get buried so fast, you can easily look and just go, oh yeah, they've been doing this a long time.
That's the crazy thing is, again, we never wanted to be YouTuber. We don't want to be YouTubers. Like, everybody in the past 2 years are setting out to be YouTubers, right? We didn't set out to be YouTubers. We didn't try to do YouTube. It kind of just happened. It was an accident. And if you look through the first year, I hardly ever say anything. I don't want to be on camera. And then all of a sudden you'll start seeing me growing this beard that I can't grow it in very. So I was coloring it to make it look even fuller. So I got this big, because I didn't like the way I looked on camera. I didn't like the way I sounded. I didn't want to. I was like trying to make my own mask because I didn't want to look like myself. What I see in the mirror, I didn't want to see that on TV. I was a total mess. And then finally, I'm like, I've got to just do this. And then you start seeing me talk more. But like, people don't realize that part, that I never wanted to be famous. I never tried to be famous. I never wanted to be a YouTuber.
You just got to do you.
I just got to do you. This, and it happened, and we rolled with it. So the people that come out that are all like, oh, you YouTubers and like, I didn't choose this. Actually, it kind of chose us.
And honestly, in a way, like, we're still doing this. What we're doing now is the same shit we did, almost 10 years ago. Like, we're still doing. It's the same dumb stuff. It's just
film now.
Now we film it, and we share it with everyone.
Like, if I could film all this stuff from when I was in middle school and high school, growing up in Vegas in the desert.
Could you imagine the content?
Oh my God. It would have been jackass. It really would have been jackass.
Yeah, that's what I tell my kid. I was like, you have no idea. Like, if you could have captured, if you'd had an iPhone in your pocket when I went to high school, oh man,
Yeah.
it was some serious debauchery that was going on all
But
levels.
we didn't. I'm glad we didn't, because it probably would have ended so much quicker. Because you would be caught for doing the shit that we did, where we never got caught because there was no evidence.
Yeah,
There were no cameras.
definitely a different time. Definitely a different time. Well,
cool.
I feel like I've kept you guys. I thought we'd get on for an hour, and man, here we're tipping almost 2 hours. So I can't thank you guys enough for taking the time to come on. This is a new venture for me. I'm just kind of jumping in. My kid said, "Geez, Dad, you should try a podcast thing." And you know a couple of cool people, and maybe somebody will listen. So you know. So
well,
I appreciate
send
it.
it over to us and we'll share it.
Yeah, we'll share it on all of our
Oh
platforms.
no, that would be huge. I really appreciate it. I'm super humbled by that. Super humbled. It's been a lot of fun. I've had some great guests on the past couple weeks. I'm just learning all the editing and kind of, I mean, I know enough about video editing, but trying to get everything lined up and get it out the door and keep it simple. I don't like to edit a lot. I'd like to just roll with it. And, you know, I try to keep out of the editing, right? There's not enough time in the day for me to edit. So
Right.
Practice makes perfect.
it's tough. It's tough. I mean, I feel for you on the editing part. You know, I mean, I see what our guys go through to edit stuff. I know in some prior roles that I've been in, I did some video editing, you know, early Premiere stuff, and it's hard. It's a job. It's a job.
It's the work. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a job. So anyways, I'll sign off with you guys. I appreciate it. Any questions of me? Anything you got?
When are we gonna see next?
What do we even see? Yeah.
GB. Yeah, well, see you at Jeep Beach. I'm headed off to Kentucky for the Ultra 4 race with the newly formulated Ultra 4, whatever that is.
Is that before GB?
That's before. That is actually the weekend before.
Oh, okay, cool.
So that's in Kentucky. Not this weekend, but next weekend in Kentucky. And then that dovetails into Jeep Beach. Skipping Formula Drift this weekend. There's something right after. I got to look. And then we start getting set for CMA Fest. It's coming up. So hopefully we'll have you out to CMA Fest if you're still tagging around on the.
I think
we'll see. Maybe.
No, your family's coming.
That's what it was.
Her brother ruined it.
Family.
Her brother ruined it.
It's okay. I love the family.
Yeah.
Her brother ruined it.
Stick with the fam. You only if you got a good relationship with fam.
Oh yeah.
Stick with them. All good. I'll sign off with you guys once again. Lite Brite, the famous Jeep YouTubers. I appreciate all the insights, especially some of those insights into YouTube, how it works and everything else. And yeah, I hope we can get you on again in a couple of months or so and have a follow-up.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Follow-up questions. Let us know. We'll answer them next.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it.
See you.